Maya stood in the middle of the decorated room, smiling softly as everyone clapped for her. Balloons, ribbons, laughter. Everything felt warm and perfect for a moment. She held her stomach gently, feeling her baby move, and her eyes filled with hope. This baby shower was supposed to be the start of a peaceful future. But then Margaret, her mother-in-law, rose from her seat. Her face was cold, stiff, full of something dark. She tapped her glass loudly, and everyone turned toward her. The room went quiet. This baby, Margaret's voice shook the room. This baby is not ours. Gasps filled the air. A few people covered their mouths. Others whispered, confused and uncomfortable. The music stopped. The laughter ended. Even the air felt heavy. Maya froze. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. What? She whispered, her voice breaking. Her hands trembled as she held her belly protectively. Her eyes darted around, searching for support, but all she saw were shocked faces watching her like she was guilty of something she didn't even understand. Margaret stepped closer, pointing at Maya. You lied to my son. You lied to all of us. Maya felt her knees weaken. Her breath caught in her throat. I didn't. I don't understand. Why are you saying this? Tears blurred her vision. Her mind spun with fear, shame, and deep confusion. She felt like the whole world was crashing down around her. Daniel, her husband, stood behind Margaret. He looked frozen, helpless. His mouth opened then closed again. He looked from his mother to his wife, unable to choose, unable to move. His face was pale, his hands clenched. But he said nothing. That silence hurt Maya more than the accusation. People whispered louder now. Some stared at her belly. Some stepped away, as if she had done something terrible. Maya tried to steady her breath, but her chest ached. She felt completely alone. Then the door opened. Everyone turned. A doctor walked in, holding a folder. He looked serious, almost nervous. His appearance at a baby shower made no sense, and the room fell into a deeper silence. Maya's heart dropped. Why was he here? Did he know something? Did he come because of Margaret's accusation? Did he have answers? Or worse, more questions? The doctor scanned the room until his eyes landed on Maya. Maya, he said softly, we need to talk. The tension in the room thickened. Everyone waited, breath held, unsure what truth was about to unfold. Maya's fear grew, but one thing was clear. Nothing about this day would ever be the same again. Maya grew up in a small house at the edge of a quiet town. Her childhood was never soft or easy. Her father left when she was 7, promising he would return after a short trip. He never did. Her mother worked long hours and came home tired, leaving Maya to raise herself in many ways. She learned early what loneliness felt like. She learned how it felt to wait for someone who never came back. Because of that, Maya always feared being abandoned. Even as an adult, she carried those memories like a secret weight in her chest. She dreamed of building a peaceful home, one where people stayed, where love didn't walk away, where she didn't have to be afraid every day. When she met Daniel, it felt like that dream might finally come true. He was warm, gentle, and spoke to her with a kind of calm that made her feel safe. He listened to her stories, even the painful ones, and held her hand like he meant to stay. For the first time in years, Maya felt like she could trust someone. But from the very beginning, Daniel's family showed small red flags, small but sharp. His mother, Margaret, always appeared polite, but her eyes were cold. She smiled with her lips but never with her heart. She asked too many questions and made comments that felt like judgments. Where is your father now? She once asked, the words slicing deeper than they seemed to. Maya tried to ignore the discomfort. Daniel loved her, she told herself. That was enough. And for a while, it was. They got married, and Maya hoped things would change. She tried to be patient, gentle, respectful. She wanted peace more than anything. When Maya found out she was pregnant, she cried with joy. This baby felt like a second chance at family, a chance to give her child what she never had. Daniel held her tightly, kissing her forehead, promising he would always be there. He meant it, she believed. But pregnancy wasn't easy. Some days were beautiful, feeling the tiny kicks, imagining the future. Other days were dark, nausea, fear, and the sharp pressure of Margaret's constant interference. Margaret wanted to control everything. What Maya ate, which doctor she visited, even how she slept. You have no experience, Margaret would say. Just listen to me. Daniel tried to keep peace, but most of the time, he took his mother's side just to avoid conflict. Maya felt herself shrinking, losing her voice little by little. One afternoon during a checkup, the doctor frowned at Maya's file. "I see something unusual," he said carefully. He ordered extra tests, genetic tests. He told Maya it was nothing to panic about, but she felt fear grow inside her. When she told Daniel, he grew anxious. "Don't tell my mother," he said quickly. "She'll overreact." Maya agreed, but keeping the secret made her feel even more alone. She went to appointments quietly, kept the results to herself, and tried to stay calm. Days passed with uncertainty eating at her. Margaret sensed something was wrong. She watched Maya closely, asking questions, pushing boundaries. "Is there something you're hiding?" she asked one night, her voice sharp like a knife. Maya tried to keep her calm. "It's just routine checks," she said softly. But Margaret didn't believe her. Maya saw suspicion growing in her eyes, something dangerous, something bitter. The more anxious Margaret became, the more isolated Maya felt. Even Daniel began pulling away, confused and stressed. He didn't know how to support her or how to stand up to his mother. Every night, Maya lay awake with her hands on her belly, whispering to her baby, "I'm here. I won't leave you." But deep inside, she felt the fear she thought she had escaped returning again. The secret tests, the tension at home, Margaret's growing hostility. Everything was building, slowly tightening around Maya's life. She had no idea that all of it would explode later, right in front of everyone. Maya sat on the edge of the examination bed, rubbing her hands together as the doctor looked at her reports. His face grew serious, and that alone made her heart beat faster. Daniel sat beside her, tapping his foot nervously, trying to act calm. The doctor finally looked up. "Maya, I think we should do some additional testing," he said gently. "It's not an emergency, but I see something in your blood work that needs a closer look." Maya swallowed hard. "Is the baby okay?" "We just want to be careful," he said. "It could be nothing, but I want to rule out a few genetic concerns." Daniel stiffened. "Genetic? What kind of concerns?" The doctor shook his head. "I'll explain once we run the tests. It's better not to worry yet." But Maya was already worried. She nodded slowly, trying to stay strong. "Okay, let's do the tests." On the way home, silence filled the car. Maya watched the world pass by through the window, her hand resting on her growing belly. Finally she spoke. "Daniel, should we tell your mom?" Immediately his jaw tightened. "No, absolutely not." "But she'll panic, Maya. She'll blame you. She always does." His voice rose with frustration. "Just, let's keep this between us for now." Maya lowered her eyes. She hated secrets, but she also feared Margaret's sharp words and cold eyes. "Okay," she whispered. "But secrets don't stay hidden for long." Over the next few days, Margaret sensed the tension. She watched Maya closely. She noticed the way Maya flinched when her phone rang, how Daniel avoided serious conversations, how Maya kept touching her belly protectively. Then one afternoon, Margaret showed up at their apartment unannounced. She walked straight to Maya, her eyes narrow. "What are you hiding?" Maya froze, caught off guard. "Nothing. I'm just tired from the pregnancy." Margaret didn't believe her for a second. She stepped closer. "I know when someone is lying to me. Is something wrong with the baby? Or is something wrong with you?" The last word stung. Maya steadied her voice. "Everything is fine." But Margaret didn't leave. She kept pushing. "Are you sure this child even belongs to our family?" The words felt like a slap. Maya's eyes widened in shock. "What? How can you even say that?" Margaret leaned in, her voice low and poisonous. "Women lie all the time. They pretend. They hide. My son is too trusting." "I'm not." Tears filled Maya's eyes. "I would never cheat on Daniel. Never." Margaret smirked slightly, as if she had found the reaction she wanted. "We'll see." And from that moment, Margaret began watching her like a hawk. She whispered things to relatives. She watched Daniel for signs of doubt. She started preparing her own story, one where she was the victim, and Maya was the liar. She was building her plan. The public humiliation. The big accusation. The moment she would say, "This baby isn't ours." Maya had no idea what storm was coming. Meanwhile, the doctor had sent her for further tests. She went alone because Daniel said he had an important meeting. She tried not to feel hurt. She sat in the clinic, nervous and alone, as the samples were taken. Days passed slowly. Too slowly. Then one evening, while Maya was cooking, her phone vibrated on the table. She wiped her hands quickly and rushed toward it, but it stopped ringing before she could reach it. A missed call. From the doctor. Her stomach dropped. She tried to call back immediately, but the clinic had already closed for the day. A cold wave of fear washed over her. She sat down holding her belly whispering, "It's okay, baby, it's okay." But the missed call felt like a warning. Like something important, maybe life-changing, had just slipped through her fingers. She didn't know that Margaret's plan was already unfolding. She didn't know that the doctor's news would collide with Margaret's attack. She didn't know that her world was only hours away from breaking open in front of everyone. All she knew was fear, and the sound of her phone ringing again in the silence. The baby shower began beautifully. Soft music played, guests laughed, and colorful decorations filled the room. Maya tried to smile as everyone greeted her, but her hands kept shaking. The missed call from the doctor was still stuck in her mind like a heavy stone. She kept touching her belly, whispering to herself that everything would be fine. Daniel helped arrange the gifts, trying to act cheerful. But his eyes kept moving toward his mother, who stood in a corner whispering to a group of relatives. Margaret looked calm on the outside, but Maya could feel the storm building inside her. As guests arrived, Margaret pulled each one aside. She spoke in a low voice, pretending to be concerned. "Maya has been acting strange," she said. "She's hiding something. I'm just worried for my son." Some nodded, believing her instantly. Others frowned, unsure what to think. Maya had friends at the event, but even they looked confused by the strange energy in the room. The celebration felt cracked, like something was about to break. At one point, Maya excused herself and went to the restroom. She stared at her reflection. Pale face, tired eyes, trembling lips. Her heart felt heavy. She splashed water on her face, trying to breathe, but the anxiety kept climbing. She felt like she was standing on weak ground. When she returned, Daniel pulled her aside. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. "I'm trying," she whispered. "Did the doctor call you too?" Daniel shook his head. "No. We'll ask him tomorrow. Just try to enjoy today." But Maya could see he was nervous too. He kept glancing at Margaret, who watched them closely like a judge waiting for a mistake. Guests began gathering around Maya for photos, handing her gifts, asking about the baby. She tried her best to stay calm, but every loud laugh, every whisper behind her made her chest tighten. She felt like everyone was seeing something wrong with her, even if it wasn't true. Meanwhile, Margaret's manipulation grew stronger. She moved from group to group, her voice slow and dramatic. "I don't want to say anything yet," she said. "But something doesn't feel right. Daniel deserves honesty," she added. "She hasn't been transparent with us." Each word twisted the room, spreading doubt like smoke. Daniel noticed. He walked toward his mother. "Mom, stop. Not today." Margaret looked offended. "I'm protecting you." "By hurting Maya?" "She hurt you first," Margaret whispered coldly. Daniel stepped back, torn. He knew his mother was wrong, but he also feared her anger, an anger he had grown up with. Flashbacks hit him. His childhood filled with strict rules. Margaret shouting when he didn't obey. Her controlling every decision he made. Her guilt tripping him whenever he tried to stand up for himself. He was raised to stay quiet, to not fight back, to avoid upsetting her. And now, that same fear kept him frozen. Back in the main room, tension thickened. Conversations sounded forced. Guests exchanged strange looks. Maya felt herself drowning in the pressure. Her stomach tightened painfully, and she grabbed a chair before her legs gave out. Her friend Lena rushed to her. "Maya, sit down. Breathe. Don't listen to anything they say." But another friend whispered, "Maybe Margaret knows something?" The mixed voices only made things worse. Then Margaret stepped toward the center of the room. She tapped her glass loudly. Everyone turned. Silence fell. "This baby," she said calmly at first. "This baby isn't ours." Maya felt the breath leave her body. Gasps echoed around her. People stared. Some took a step back. Margaret repeated herself louder this time, her voice sharp and cutting. "This baby does not belong to my family." Tears streamed down Maya's face. She felt her chest tighten painfully, her body shaking. She tried to speak, but only a broken sob came out. Her entire world felt like it was collapsing in front of everyone she knew. Daniel stood frozen again, trapped between his mother's rage and his wife's pain. He opened his mouth but no words came. Then, the door opened. The doctor walked in, holding the folder tightly, his face serious. The room turned silent once more. Everyone stared at him, but no one knew yet if he was here to confirm Margaret's accusation or to shatter it. The doctor stepped inside, holding a brown folder close to his chest. His eyes swept over the room filled with shocked faces, tense shoulders, and a silence so heavy it felt like the air itself stopped moving. He could feel something terrible had just happened. He walked straight to Maya. "Maya," he said softly. "I'm sorry I had to come like this, but it was important." Maya wiped her tears with shaking hands. She could barely breathe. Did the test say that my baby isn't Daniel's?" Gasps filled the room again. People leaned closer. The doctor frowned. "What? No. The test was not a paternity test." Everyone froze. Even Margaret's confident smile disappeared. The doctor continued. "These were genetic screening tests, not paternity tests. They check for inherited medical traits, not for cheating or anything like that." Maya's heart jumped. "So the baby is Daniel's?" The doctor nodded gently. "Yes, the baby is his." A loud whisper spread across the room. Some guests looked embarrassed, some angry, and some turned to stare at Margaret. But the doctor wasn't done. "There is something important you need to understand," he said, opening the folder. "We found a rare inherited genetic trait in the baby. It is harmless for now, but it can only come from one parent." Everyone held their breath. The trait comes from Daniel's side, not Maya's. Maya covered her mouth as relief washed over her. Her knees almost gave out. Daniel blinked. "Wait, my side." The doctor nodded. "Yes. This trait is passed only through the father. It proves Maya is telling the truth." All eyes turned to Margaret. Her face went pale. Her lips pressed together. Her hands shook. "Maya did not cheat," the doctor repeated clearly. "She never lied. The baby is completely and unquestionably Daniel's." Maya broke into tears, this time from pure relief. She leaned against a chair, crying softly. Her heart felt lighter, but the humiliation she had suffered minutes ago still burned inside her. Daniel felt something inside him snap. He stepped away from his frozen spot and looked at his mother. "Mom, you accused her. You humiliated her," he whispered, voice breaking. "Why would you do that?" Margaret's eyes darted around the room. She looked trapped, cornered. "I didn't know. I thought she was hiding something." The doctor interrupted gently but firmly. "She wasn't hiding anything from you. She came for routine tests because she was worried for her baby. The only reason she didn't tell you was because she feared your reaction. And she was right." Margaret's face filled with anger and fear. "This is not about me. This is about my son." "No, Mom," Daniel said sharply, louder this time. "This is about you." Everyone watched the mother and son face each other. Years of silence, control, and pain rising to the surface. Margaret shook her head. "You don't understand, Daniel. You don't know what this trait means. If people find out." "Find out what?" Daniel demanded. "What are you hiding?" The doctor closed the folder. "This trait has a history in your family." Daniel froze. "My family?" Margaret's eyes widened. "Stop. Don't say anything." The doctor looked at Daniel calmly. "Your father had the same trait. It caused medical problems in the past. There were scandals, and a lot of shame." The room gasped again. Daniel stared at his mother, shocked. "You never told me that. You didn't need to know." Margaret snapped. "Your father's issues nearly destroyed our family. I couldn't let this come out again. Not now. Not with everyone here." Daniel stepped back as if he had been slapped. "So you humiliated Maya because you wanted to hide a family secret?" Margaret's lips trembled. "I did it to protect you." "No," Daniel said, tears forming in his eyes. "You did it to protect your pride." Maya watched quietly, holding her belly, still trembling from the emotional storm. Margaret pointed at Maya. "If she had told me about the test." "She did try," Daniel shouted. "You were too busy accusing her, watching her, controlling everything she did." Margaret's face twisted in anger. "I am your mother. I know what's best for you." Daniel shook his head slowly. "No, you know what's best for you. Not for me." And not for my wife. The room grew painfully quiet. For the first time in his life, Daniel stood tall. He took Maya's hand gently, helping her stand. I should have defended her. I should have been there for her. But you pushed me to doubt her. You pushed me to fear you. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. I only wanted to protect my family. Daniel steadied himself. You almost destroyed it. The doctor stepped back, letting the truth settle over everyone like a heavy curtain. Maya looked at Daniel, her eyes still red. You believe me now? Daniel nodded with deep regret. I always wanted to believe you. I let her control me. He glanced at Margaret. Not anymore. Margaret looked around the room, hoping someone would defend her, but no one moved. The relatives she had whispered to now avoided her eyes. The friends she tried to influence looked ashamed. Her plan had collapsed completely, and the truth she tried to bury had risen higher than her lies. Daniel tightened his grip on Maya's hand. I'm choosing my wife and my child. Margaret took a shaky step back, the reality finally breaking her. Daniel, please. But he turned away. Maya leaned into him, exhausted but relieved. For the first time in months, she felt safe. The doctor closed the folder. I think the baby will be okay. And now so will this family, if you choose the right path. And as the room slowly came back to life, one thing was clear. The truth had shattered Margaret's lie, and given Maya the strength she never knew she had. After the baby shower disaster, Maya knew one thing for sure. She needed space. She needed peace. She needed to protect herself and her baby. So the next morning, she packed a small bag and went to stay with her friend Lena. Lena welcomed her with open arms, letting Maya rest, cry, and breathe without judgment. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt quiet inside. No shouting. No tensión. No eyes watching her every move. Daniel called her again and again. At first she didn't answer. She wasn't ready. Her heart was too bruised. When she finally picked up, his voice was soft and full of guilt. Maya, I'm so sorry. I should have defended you. I let my mother control everything. I hurt you. I hurt our baby. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to fix things. Maya closed her eyes. She wanted to believe him, but trust wasn't something she could just give back. I need time, Daniel, she said quietly. I need to feel safe. I need to protect our child. I can't go back to that house right now. Daniel agreed, even though it broke him. I understand. I'll wait, and I'll work on myself. Back at the family home, everything changed. Margaret expected everyone to support her, but the opposite happened. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people she tried to convince, now avoided her. Some even confronted her. How could you accuse a pregnant woman like that? You embarrassed your own family. You nearly destroyed your son's marriage. For the first time in her life, Margaret stood alone. The same relatives she once controlled now stepped back from her. Her pride had trapped her, and now it was swallowing her. Meanwhile, Maya began rebuilding herself. She met with a lawyer to understand her rights and protect her baby's future. She wasn't planning to fight Daniel, but she needed boundaries. She needed to feel secure. She started attending therapy sessions to heal from years of fear, stress, and emotional exhaustion. Slowly, she began to find strength she didn't know she had. She took gentle walks. She practiced breathing exercises. She wrote letters to her unborn child, promising love, safety, and a peaceful home. Her hands no longer shook. Her voice grew steady. Her confidence returned little by little. Daniel, on the other hand, faced a painful truth. He had lived under his mother's control his entire life. After the confrontation, he finally agreed to therapy. He spoke openly about his childhood, the pressure, the fear, and how it shaped him into someone who stayed silent instead of standing up for the people he loved. It stops with me, he told his therapist. I don't want my child to grow up afraid. I don't want to repeat the same cycle. He worked hard. He learned how to set boundaries. He learned how to apologize with action, not just words. He stopped visiting his mother every day and kept his distance until she acknowledged her wrongdoing. Weeks passed. Maya noticed the change in him. He visited respectfully, never pushing her to return home. He brought her healthy meals, baby clothes, and handwritten notes saying, I'm trying. And you deserve peace. And I'm here when you're ready. Maya wasn't sure of the future yet, but she could see he was growing too. For the first time since everything fell apart, She felt hope. She wasn't fully healed. She wasn't fully ready. But she was stronger than before. And she knew, whatever happened next, she would protect her baby, protect her peace, and never let anyone steal her voice again. Months later, Maya sat quietly in a soft chair by the window. In her arms, she held her newborn baby, small and warm, breathing gently against her chest. She looked down at the tiny face and smiled softly, feeling a deep love she had never known before. The room was peaceful. Outside, sunlight filtered through the curtains, making everything feel calm and safe. Maya's heart was full, but it had been a long journey to get here. She thought about everything she had been through. The fear, the pain, the anger. How she had felt lost and alone. But now she felt different. Stronger. She had learned to protect herself and her child. To stand up for what was right. Daniel had changed too. They had started to build a new kind of family. One with respect and understanding. They talked about boundaries and trust. About healing old wounds and moving forward. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Maya knew she would always carry some scars. But those scars reminded her of how far she had come. She had found her voice again. She had learned that love did not mean giving up herself. It meant being brave enough to protect her heart. As she rocked her baby gently, Maya whispered, "I will keep you safe. I will teach you to be strong. And I will never let fear take away your happiness." She looked up at the sky outside, feeling hope rise inside her like the morning sun. The past was behind her. The future was waiting. And in that quiet moment, Maya knew this truth deeply. She was worthy of love, respect, and peace. And so was her baby. Hey friends, thanks a lot for watching all the way through. Don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. See you next time.